So I have a question, and this is perfect. Well, first of all, hi guys. Welcome to the, I don't know if this is a podcast. I don't know what it is. It's a video. People can read it. We'll read it, watch it, whatever. And, okay, so we're here at Maple Ave with, why don't you guys introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about, there's lots of questions I have, like, I'm going to rattle off a few. You don't have to answer them all at once, but like, you bought the place in 2015. What happened to the previous owner? Are you guys from the area? Did you live here before buying? Where do you live now? So I've got lots of questions about the food too, and about your roles and how you guys balance each other out, not just in terms of your personalities, which is kind of what we were talking about, but in terms of your roles here in the restaurant. So introduce yourselves.
Well, my name is Ricardo Teves. I'm the general manager, owner and general manager of Maple Ave. I'm originally from Argentina. I moved to the States, and I don't remember exactly the year, but usually every time that I do have to count in a year is a different number. Mm-hmm. But 13 years ago.
Got it.
So probably more. Actually 14.
Don't look at me.
Got it.
I think we got one in the
Give or take.
2020. Yes.
Got it.
I live in San Francisco for 2 years, and after that, I moved to the DC area, and of course, Northern Virginia, which is same area. Let's say. So I had been working first, at the restaurant. I started in 2010 summer, as a server, and then I
in
naturally
DC? In DC or
well, I'm here. Yeah, I'm
Northern
talking just directly, at Maple Ave, and then I was naturally
here. Oh, got it. So you were a server here in 2010.
So the restaurant opened in 2009.
Since the beginning.
Yes.
Wow.
I started working before the first anniversary, and until now. So yes.
Wow.
All
right, I love this story.
Yeah, so we don't live in Vienna.
Because that's incredible. Not to cut you off, but your story is a lot of quick progress. I would say.
So,
well, in the industry, you started in San Francisco as a
busboy.
busboy.
Yeah, exactly.
So you was a busboy before, and then.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was my first job. In the first restaurant, I started as a busboy, and then
English was difficult.
And as an immigrant, you have to adapt to any kind of job.
Right.
And of course, the language barrier, at the beginning.
Right.
It's still, now everybody make fun of me because I speak English. I believe.
You're fascinated.
Your English is great.
But because I don't pay a lot of attention on pronunciation.
Sure.
So, and everybody make fun of that. I don't care.
As long as
they're asking him where is he from? You're French?
Really?
He loves it.
Usually, it's I like that because it's I guess I want to say all the Spanish, the Argentinian Spanish is slightly different that the one that you see or you can hear around here, from any other Spanish country.
Right.
We have a very strong Italian influence.
Yes.
And how we talk, speed that we talk, the word that we use.
Yes.
So for that reason, when I came here, many people. I usually also how I look. Many people they ask me where I'm from because they don't get it much.
Sure.
I get a lot of from
a popular guess. Or
usually
right.
If I'm Serbian, if I'm
really?
from North Africa, if I'm Spain, French. Italy.
I would have guessed Paraguay.
Yeah.
Just because I have a friend. Who's from
there. Yeah, exactly. All South American. I'm gonna say Argentina and Uruguay, people from Chile, Brazilian. We are very similar. Same, culture, history too.
Sure.
Basically,
Cool.
So, you asked, if we live in Vienna, so we don't, but we feel like we do. Because,
we spend more time here.
Yes, for example,
right.
Yeah, we used to live in Springfield before.
Okay.
Now, we live in Reston, which very close, from here.
Yep.
But basically, now my schedule is very tight. So of 7 days, I usually spend 6 days here in Vienna.
Right.
Which is those 6 days are over 12 hours at the restaurant.
Wow.
So I live in Vienna.
So you're earning it.
Yeah.
You live in Vienna.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I live in Vienna.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I go to sleep in restaurant.
I get it. I mean, that's true though. I mean, this is yours.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Right?
True, yeah.
This building
Yeah,
is yours.
Yeah. And then,
so.
for example, all the people that we know, it basically is they live around here.
Right.
So
Right.
you don't live in the area, but you're part of the community here.
Sure. What's your, I guess maybe I'm overstating it, but as the face of the business, you're standing here and you're greeting lots of folks that come in. What is your icebreaker? I mean, obviously regulars who get to know you is one thing, but
yeah, well, usually, I don't want to say I study, the people that when they walk in,
Right.
but usually, when people say hi, you already know, for example, how
Right.
to interact.
right,
And then, usually everything is very natural.
Right.
I'm gonna say our customer base is 60-70% of regulars. I have a good memory. Everybody made fun of me because I remember
you're saying
people,
that a lot. You're saying that a lot.
well,
Do
because-
people make fun of you? Don't let people make fun of you.
General environment in the restaurant in general. We
Oh,
joke around.
you guys like to
Yeah,
joke
we
We
make
make
around.
fun of each
Yeah.
other. a
Got
lot
it.
in general.
And
Got
so basically, I'm very bad, remembering names.
Okay.
Because, for that reason, for me to remember a name, it
Yeah,
is
that's-
impossible to do it.
That's hard.
But I can remember if you came 2 years ago where you were
Really?
sad, exactly, what you had
Right.
meal, and if you enjoyed something or if you ask me, so I don't know why or how,
Cool.
So, but sometimes it's very easy to remember those details, which
Yeah.
is at the end I try to avoid it. I don't mention the customer, because some people they see it like a
A threat.
Yeah, exactly.
You're always
Weirdo.
always
Yeah,
recording.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Ricardo is
yeah.
recording. No, I'm just
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's good, for the business.
Sure, that's a great skill.
It's
Yeah.
there are a lot of programs now that you have that info in
Sure.
tablets.
Sure.
So.
Maybe we'll leave that out if you want.
So yeah, so
No, that's
basically,
great.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
if they can, before I usually, I talk to them because people they like to talk, usually ask, how's your wife, how the kids, because it's a family.
Right.
So
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Cool.
so Ian, you have to introduce yourself.
Okay.
We were talking.
So I'm chef owner of Maple Avenue Restaurant. My name is Juste. I originally am from Lithuania. I came here in 2009. Don't remember. But I started working in Maple in 2012.
Okay.
So I don't have any experience in cooking. I didn't, at least at that time, and I wasn't sure in general.
Not even at home.
Well, right now, but how I grew up is you didn't have an option to go out, so you
cooked.
all your meals were homemade,
Right.
and then there was no variety in food. Even when I was growing up, post Soviet Union,
Right.
there was no international restaurants at all.
Right.
So
Right.
there were cafeterias and Lithuanian food. Basically, that's what you got. And later, of course, then it started expanding, exploding.
Sure.
But the experience in international food I got here in US.
Yeah.
So I started in 2012 as an intern here at Maple. And then I worked my way up to sous chef.
Wow.
And then in 15 we bought it. I still keep saying I don't have any experience in cooking, but now I look back, it's 8 years now.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
great.
You don't have.
I don't have a
if you wanna present
professional
it-
education
Yeah.
in cooking.
Yeah. And do you
Let's say that.
love it? I would assume you do, but I
Well,
mean,
love
that's
to
a loaded
eat.
question. You love to eat.
I think that the problem with a lot of cooks
Yeah.
is that they cook so much that they never cook at home anymore.
Right.
They get so sick of it, the smell and the clothes, the
Right.
environment of cooking, that you punish yourself at the end. You come home and you eat a pizza from Papa John's, or something like that. And for me, if I did that, I don't know if I would be cooking, because I deserve a good meal also.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of
Absolutely.
a pivoting point for us, because it's a big reward when we come back home late at night to actually sit down and have a meal, a glass of wine, and have the same experience.
Yeah.
Reward yourself,
Which is, for example, my dad, I was talking with him, I usually talk to him, every week, every few days. He was asking me, so at what time you go to sleep, and say, well, to tell you the truth, we usually don't go to sleep, before 2 o'clock. Because, we close the restaurant, until, you close, you do everything.
Sure.
I usually go to the gym at night. She does, yoga. And then, I come back, around midnight. And, we have 2 beautiful dogs that, we have to walk them.
You're about to say 2 kids.
Yeah, which is, for us,
Yeah.
kids,
It's
Yeah.
10 and 12.
So you're saying you guys live together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and basically, yes, we enjoy, our dinner. I have to have, a glass of wine at night,
He
with
gets
the...
grumpy if he doesn't.
Well, yeah, because, the same, if why you're working,
Right.
If you don't, we don't have much time, so, but at
Right.
least, I like to sit, we usually talk, and, we have a cocktail, and a glass of wine,
Yeah.
and for dessert too.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Who does the cooking?
Well,
I do.
yeah.
You do?
I
Will you
That's
let him
fine.
help if he wants to? Okay.
That's the dishes. That's fine.
yeah.
That's help.
I
That's
do,
help.
I do the dishes.
That's help.
We tried at some point, but
With
it
the help,
didn't
I'm
go very well.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
she's really...
That was when we were
Particular.
dating, though,
Yeah.
so it was different.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
She's,
I was more patient.
She's very good and she's very fast to cook.
That's true. It's faster if I
Got
just do
it.
it myself.
Yeah.
Got
so,
it.
She's cooking, I'm doing the dishes, because
Yeah.
I don't like. I like to, we try to keep it clean.
Right.
So.
So you both fast tracked, I would say, right? You both. I got a couple questions boiling in my head. Kind of one is the difference in culture. I mean, we're talking different political ideologies. I mean, at least not that necessarily affect who you are as people, but environments that you grew up in. I think it's beautiful that you're coming together and perhaps you're learning about her and you're learning about him, and the two cultures are intermixing. Does that influence?
I'd say Lithuania is a lot similar to Argentina, surprisingly.
How so?
Well, we kind of, us personally, we share a lot of same values. We don't share religion or political views, nothing like that, but we share the fundamentals of living, how we like to live our life in general. Let's say one of the big things is frugality.
Right.
And I think for me, that comes from being in a repressed society where you don't have an opportunity, you don't have resources available to you, so you make the living of what you have. And I think for you it's kind of similar, because also your government was flipping, every few years, and there was no stability.
Yeah, well, we have a crisis, it's
It's
very
the
volatile.
same- it's kind of
a
the
crisis
same idea,
every
right?
10 years.
Yes.
So, and you grow up, and well, if you hear, from here, people they ask you, so, how are you? Can you say, well, I grew up there, it's a crisis. So
it's normal. It's not a crisis. It's just the way.
But,
Part of it.
And she said,
Yeah.
we went to Buenos Aires, a few times, and it's always, people, it's outside, drinking, the kids are playing, it's.
You
It's
just
part of
live
your
your
life.
life,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's normal.
Yeah.
You
Got
just
it.
keep moving on. I think
Exactly.
just the big difference is that Lithuanians are more grumpy.
Mm.
They are more outgoing, and family is a really big thing.
Yeah.
The generational living all
Yeah.
under one roof, and
Yeah.
accepting other family
Yeah.
members into your immediate family. I grew up very secluded. I grew up in an apartment complex, and I knew my neighbors, but we weren't close. But for him, when we went, I was so tired because the whole family is a horde of people and everybody kissed the cheeks, and for me it's just leave me alone. I just want to by myself.
When very Italian that way, and
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
and family is not only your parents and sister, brothers.
Are you my cousin?
Your,
Yeah. Extended.
family is sometimes people they grow up in the same
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Right.
So
There's not the-
I usually talk to him, my uncle, but he's not my dad's brother.
Right.
Is my
Right.
dad's cousin of the cousin, but
Right.
it's your uncle.
Just
okay?
uncle.
But,
Yeah,
I
that makes
think-
it easier.
I think what's interesting in how we made it work is that in U.S., I consider myself American at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm Lithuanian in the background, but I am American. And he still kind of referenced Argentina as his country, but I think we passed that point already.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Because
Especially-
it's not home anymore.
Right.
Because
You
you-
want the cultural connection still,
Yeah.
perhaps, but
Because the name and you could change your name, but
Yeah,
still
yeah,
it
you can
doesn't
do that.
change your
who,
background.
yes, exactly. Who
right?
you are.
of course.
Um,
Or would you even want to do that? right?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, if I have to go over there, definitely, I'm not gonna stay.
Now
for
they're
a
gonna
month.
say, "Hey, you're a
Yeah.
foreigner."
Well, yeah,
Right,
that's
right.
when I go over there, that's how people they see
you
you.
don't understand.
Sure.
Because
anymore.
you left the country. I say 14 years ago earlier.
Right.
So it's a lot of time.
Yeah.
So
That is-
basically everything changed. You have the
Yeah.
memories, when you left.
Sure.
But everything.
14 years is a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we live here. Our life is here.
the lifestyle, I think, mostly in the
Exactly.
lifestyle, we're very American.
Yeah.
This is home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the food. So
Okay.
what's the concept of the food? Oh, here's another question. Maybe that's a loaded question, and that's a big question. If you could talk a little bit about what the concept of the food, I don't know if you can talk about this, what the concept of the food was before you guys took it over, and what it is now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before and now we share the same value of quality,
Mm-hmm.
of sourcing the ingredients, pay a lot of attention to that.
Right.
So that stayed the same.
Right.
And what changed, I think, is the influence. And of course, as a cook, your background comes, it reflects on the menu. So
Right.
before it was more American Asian, because
For example.
there was a
Yeah.
lot of Asian ingredients.
Okay.
Because the head chef and the chef de cuisine, they were both Asian, one Chinese American, one Burmese. Now what we do is I'm European. He has a lot of influence from Europe, how he grew up, Italian, Spanish food, Argentinian food in general is very influenced by Europe. So we kind of meld more of that into the menu. I don't call it fusion. It's not fusion. It's just my life. It's just
Yes.
the way I know food and I use ingredients the way I see it fit, and I don't
Right.
think about it why or how it's gonna look or
Sure.
if it's gonna be gimmicky. If you
Sure.
call it fusion, it's usually
Right.
something that I don't know if you should be doing.
Right.
But for me, it's more you see a purpose for the ingredients, so you use it, and those ingredients usually for me are European
Right. Got it.
techniques and influences in general.
Sure. So how do you, if you think about and I don't know anything about cooking, okay? So you can, but maybe people do that are listening. How do you tie that to the fundamentals of cooking? So in terms of ingredients, right? Like when you think about the fundamentals of a certain dish, traditionally, there's going to be specific things that you're going to use in, give me an example of an Italian pasta dish.
Gnocchis.
Sure, right? Like there's a way to prepare those.
That's basically when she's talking about that.
How do you know when to break the rules? Is kind of what I'm asking.
That's our rule, or that's her rule. Is break the rule.
Got it.
Well, but it's not intentional. It's not like, I'm just gonna take this
Yeah.
dish and I'm gonna flip it, put a spin on it, and it's gonna be all fresh and sparkling.
Right.
Because
No, I just do what makes sense to me. I see it, and I don't know how,
Is-
but it comes to you, and
Yeah.
you see an idea, and you know this ingredient from before, so why don't I put it there, even though it's not supposed to be there?
Is the process experimental?
Oh,
Like,
absolutely, yeah.
like, and then
gnocchi is a great example.
Yeah, well, gnocchi is,
Super traditional Italian,
yeah,
right?
gnocchi is, for example, when we were dating, every time that we used to go to Italian restaurant, I used to say, for me, I want to eat gnocchi because, my dad, made gnocchi.
Love it.
And, it's something like, I like,
Yeah.
And basically, she make,
gnocchis are
gnocchi.
hard.
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
you have an idea about, how Italian, they make the gnocchis.
Right.
But how she make it, for example, she had, beets.
Right.
So you have,
Into gnocchi.
into gnocchi, so you have, beets gnocchis. It's still, it's a
Right.
potato
Because
base.
these are super Lithuanian. that's
Yeah,
what goes-
so basically something like for her it's very natural,
Yes.
and
It's not like I grew up with that, but I grew up with beets, and for me, beets are very like a pheasant food that's really cheap, really hearty. And in US, I noticed it's popular. It's
Yeah.
trendy,
Right.
It's like the kale of the vegetables, or
Right.
there's always something in the spotlight.
so
Right.
basically
So I
if you
just put it in the gnocchi. It colors it red.
Yeah.
It looks weird, but it's cool.
and that's how everything works in China. If you want to call it fusion, so that
Sure.
that's,
We won't.
Well, no, it's not.
We
but
won't call it fusion.
I just gonna say that's the fusion part.
We're gonna call it
The fusion is
fusion.
Fusion.
I don't know.
Well,
Don't use that. That's
But
terrible.
The fusion, is not two different cuisine or technique. Basically, it's your background.
Right.
So you put part of you into that dish.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
So-
always why not?
Yeah.
Is there ever a time where you do that and maybe you know personally that the result is not great, but perhaps you agree that it's a good
Well,
choice, and then you present it, and then you
sometimes if you present something, we believe that it's a good dish.
My
Right.
view evolved a lot.
Yeah. So basically, it's more about sometimes is to find a right name for the dish.
Oh yeah, that's good.
So people,
Right.
they are open to try it.
right.
We have, for example, this dish is very Lithuanian. We call it barsotto, which is that name doesn't exist. So she came out with that name, and tried to
Explain what it is.
explain what it is.
So what do you think it is?
Something with rice.
Okay.
Risotto.
So
Well,
that's the background.
that's
so, but
the
instead of
spin.
rice, we
Okay.
use barley.
Got it.
And barley, for me, my
Yeah.
grandma used to feed barley to pigs, and I remember that smell when she used to cook it, and it was awful. But then we also used to eat it in soups, and it was like a normal grain that you just have everyday use grain.
Right.
And I was okay. So why don't we just make a risotto out of it?
Right.
So
And it worked.
And it worked.
It works,
And
yeah.
I added a couple
That's
other
great.
Lithuanian ingredients. They're extremely authentic and like this whipped creme fraiche thing. We still struggle to name it, but
But
it's
you,
very
you can name it.
yeah. It's a very Viennese. So it's from my mom's region where my mom grew up, and it's basically sour cream whipped with a bit of butter, and you eat it with a hot potato. But you add cannabis seeds and garlic to it.
Yeah.
So it's such a weird
That's-
thing, but
that's
it's
cool.
just it's similar to flavored butter basically,
Sure.
if you simplify it. But
What's-
we add that on the barzotto and a bit of dried mushrooms.
Got it. I'm getting hungry. Is there a mainstay dish for the restaurant? Something that is a signature that, or maybe something that you've had to bring back that maybe you transitioned off and people were saying, hey, where's
Pork was the longest. Now we have a pork confit
mm-hmm.
dish,
Mm-hmm.
which again
Yeah.
is one of those things that kind of sound pork confit steak.
Okay.
So it's a shoulder or butt, pork butt cooked
Yeah.
in oil slowly, and then we slice it and we sear it off so it looks like a steak, but it's confit, so it's very
Right.
tender and
That
soft.
sounds great.
So, but that
Sounds
stayed.
really good.
I don't think I've ever took it off the
No,
menu.
that's a dish that has been on the menu for several years.
Yeah.
Those dishes now, people they just sometimes came and they know what they want.
That's what they're looking
yeah.
for. Yeah.
So, but then
Yeah.
many of
we
our
play.
dishes
we
usually are
depends
really
on the
seasonal
season, yeah.
too.
Right.
During the summer, we have a few weeks that we do soft shell crab.
Okay.
And quite a bit is a customer that they, when it's gonna start getting warm, they're gonna start asking you, oh, when are you gonna bring, soft shell?
Yeah.
And we usually do it, it's just for like a few weeks.
Yep.
And that's a popular dish. And sometimes those customers, they came because they know that we should do it for 2-3 weeks. So
Right.
they came in a week, two times.
That's great.
So and that they're looking,
Right.
so
That's what they're looking for.
exactly. That's how the menu works.
Yeah.
Very, very seasonal, always small.
Right.
Because we're a small restaurant.
I keep trying to make it smaller and smaller, which
So,
it just makes sense to me.
yeah. And basically, it's like a very, very small team that work here. So, try to.
That's like the whole
it is a
making
small
fun
space
part, because we're bickering like a family.
Right.
So you're always kind of some jokes are going on, and there's always drama in the sense, not a bad drama,
Right.
but like, oh, somebody like our server comes in, oh, you know what my son did, and it's always like conversations like that.
Yeah.
We know everything about our
That's cool.
employees.
Yeah, and
That's
everybody
cool.
knows about our life too. So
Yeah.
it's like
You get tired of each other, but then you kind of you roll over and it's fine.
It's a
and-
family.
Yeah, it is like a
That's
family.
cool. Does that spill over into this area of the restaurant yet?
Professional in
Right.
that sense. You
Yeah.
don't see what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
Even when there's some crazy stuff going
Right.
on.
yeah.
Which is always something.
Sure.
What do we do? We serve in that way. No, but yeah.
So for folks that have never been here, I've been in here before. I think it was probably the previous owner, and there was a buzz around the restaurant still back then, even though I guess she had been open already for he or she, I don't know if it was, for a few years. But anyway, we walked in. I mean, you can tell it's a cool building, first of all, right? You got this cool, very 1960s retro.
You know what was here before?
What was here before?
So there were few businesses.
Yeah, so basically,
It was a donut shop.
the original, business,
The shack.
of the building was,
Okay.
was a donut shop.
Shack. And there was Anita's.
Yeah.
Anita's
Yeah.
right down the street.
This was
so this is
Anita's.
the original location where they started.
Right.
And
Right.
that was
I'd heard
here
that.
for a while.
Yeah.
Then
And after, they closed, I believe there were like 2 or 3 at least, Mexican, Salvadorian
something,
restaurants.
yeah, it changed.
Yeah, we used to
Yeah.
get, mail from previous, business,
Yeah.
for a few years. So for
Right.
that reason,
Still
we
do.
know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were saying you
Well,
went-
it's a small space, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first impactful thing. I think when you walk in, you're going,
that's
wow.
a piece of information right there. When
Yeah.
you walk in and you see it's so tiny,
Yeah.
you have to get something from it.
Right,
know,
because
as
you
a
mentioned the
customer.
small menu.
Yeah.
And the space is small, but it sounds like you have to embrace that.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of what
I
you're
think,
talking about, like in the back of the house,
a
like
big difference before with the previous owner was that it was more about a vision and trying to fit into the space. What I think we actually became very good at is taking what we have and maximizing it instead of trying to
yep.
adapt your idea to this.
Right.
to the
So this
space.
fits into the life philosophy of what you mentioned before.
The
The frugality.
and taking what you have
Yeah.
and being happy with it.
Yeah.
So is that how you guys were able to purchase the place? Like
Absolutely.
you had a goal and maybe you could have leased whatever to pick your car, right? And you said that wasn't even a thought because you had a goal and you weren't interested in over leveraging yourselves and taking out this huge loan to make it happen.
Oh, we did.
Well, I'm sure,
We took some loans,
but the frugality.
It was very circumstantial, and he made it happen because we reduced our expectations in life.
Right.
So it's just a simple example. We when we moved in together, because didn't make sense to pay rent, right, for two
Right.
places. So we moved in and we were living in the basement apartment for 5 years to be able to save
Wow.
to buy an apartment,
Wow.
our apartment.
Yeah.
But that was very normal for us,
Yeah.
and it was just okay. So you have a goal, and that's the only reason we actually, in the first few years when we bought a business, why we survived, because we just didn't have a lot of expenses.
Sure.
So instead of trying not to lose your lifestyle and working harder in that sense, we just, okay, so this is what we need to do now in the short term, so you see the perspective in the long term.
Right.
It's gonna pay off.
Yeah. And the payoff is not buying something, an asset, or buying a thing. The payoff is you're getting to do something you enjoy.
Yeah,
You own it.
We combine that. I think the actual pleasure of doing something you like with, having some money.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be sad. But we always have that. I have a certain need, but do I really need it? But the feeling that you can actually, maybe you can afford it, is good.
Sure. Yeah.
But you just decide not to buy something. That's really. I think I'm very proud of us for being like that.
That's really good.
A good example, for us, we're the owner of the restaurant, but we never change our car, in these 5 years, because we don't have to, we don't need it, Sometimes, people, that's, and you see it very often, the first thing that we do.
Because you can afford it and you do it, so why not? It's like a treat to yourself.
But you don't need it, sometimes, it's more about, if they make you happy, it's fine, but there are other things,
Picking and choosing. Making wise choices.
I'd rather travel and eat.
Experiences over stuff. Would you ever consider opening up another location? What's the end state? What do you envision 10 years down the road? Is it just, let's just keep doing this, and this is great? Not that and that's a great answer, right? Because you're comfortable, you're liking what you're doing. There's no thoughts of like doing these big grand things. Like, this is the grand thing, right?
We never had an idea to expand to the point that you have a chain or you have multiple locations. That was never the end goal.
Right.
I mean, we never worked towards it. We could, because we're good at what we do in general. We're but I don't think that was ever the case, just to have multiple locations. I think maybe if, we're always looking for opportunity.
Sure.
That's kind of normal thing.
Sure.
If you don't, you never.
You don't
never
take a risk.
We don't.
Again, comes from calculating the risk and seeing if you can actually do it physically. I've seen a lot of cases where you start opening up and you just spread out too thin, and then everything collapses.
Right.
So we're not.
So we try to learn from other people we say too, because that's very common in this industry.
Right.
That's very normal. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Which is
short-term gain, but then in the long term you.
And you've been here since 15, so you're over that 3-year hump that they always talk about.
Yeah, we just celebrated 5 years.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. What is it about the Vienna customer that might be unique compared to other places? You've been in DC and San Francisco.
Well, city is completely different than
How so?
I'm gonna say town, which is now like a small city.
Sure.
Definitely here you have more repeat customers.
Right.
It's not a one-time tourist.
Exactly.
That's just come in and eat and that's it.
You're coming back.
So there's more accountability in that sense, towards customers.
Right.
Yeah. So that's basically it's a big difference.
Yeah.
And especially in Vienna, it's more families. They go out. For us, our space is limited to having like a big family, but we can see that sometimes people they try to reserve like a long tables, and we if we can, we like to do it.
Sure.
Our space is very limited in that way, but we always try to.
Yeah.
Customers are very educated in general here.
Right.
They ask a lot of questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Do they provide a lot of feedback? Like you said, accountability, right? So how do they keep you accountable?
Well,
Reviews. Yeah.
Then asking for certain dishes, asking for certain quality.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure.
Because I think the big thing why people come here is they expect the value for the price, for the quality.
Right.
And we're always very good at listening what people are saying, and that's how the menu is evolving.
Cool.
Sometimes you have this idea, oh, this is going to be great, but people don't want to buy it.
Sure.
So we kind of react to that.
Or sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes she cooks something else. I don't wanna. I wanna take it off the menu and say, well, you know what, people
like it.
But she as a cook, she get more, to be cooking the same.
Yes, exactly. Try something new.
So I guess the pork is a good example, right? That,
it's a
we
very solid dish.
We usually don't
really
keep a dish for that long. Easy 3 years.
Probably that's.
But it's a dish that sells very well.
People are intrigued by it.
People like it. The name, the combination of flavor is a solid dish.
Yeah.
And had been like a main picture of Northern Virginia magazine in a review that we had like a few years ago. Since then, that basically was kind of new at that time, but now it's very, something like you can take off.
Right.
It's a celebrity.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Any other question?
You guys are really cool. I feel like I could talk to you and grab a glass of wine and talk to you for a long time without the camera and stuff.
I can bring you a glass of wine.
Hot wine,
I want to come back. Like the vibe from you guys is really cool.